they'll lynch you. But he did, and he laughs at
Yes, everybody, Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're new around here, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, and give it a bloody good subscribe. So yesterday, not a great day in the office. Let's be honest, not a great day in the office yesterday. So let's talk about it. So, obviously, losing 2-0 to the Premier League champions, the team that have won 4 Premier Leagues in the last 5, I came away being disappointed. I hope you were too. Not necessarily with the result, because actually, on paper, realistically, these teams will all, Man City are Man City for a reason. They've won 4 Premier League titles out of 5 for a reason. They ain't no mugs. But it was from our side as well. Just didn't. It seemed. I think Andy said it really nicely on West Ham Fan TV. Andy Miles. And I felt the same when I was talking to a few of the guys on the way back. It was like a It was like a Betway Cup. It felt like a Betway Cup. It didn't seem like we were totally match fit, which surprised me a little bit, to be honest, knowing Moyes. And I think we were knackered. We look like we're knackered because we were bloody chasing the ball around all the bloody time with Man City. Yes, I know I listened to Anton talking about the game with Luke and Lawrence and Daniela after the game. Just check it out yesterday, about 8 o'clock, 8:30. Anton did a show last night, and it's true. He, no credit, not to this. They didn't have to get out of third gear. It was quite a competent performance from them. They didn't have to excel. They didn't have to go above and beyond. It was very competent. And when you've got someone like Haaland, you've always got a chance. And his movement, I mean, he's a big lad. He's direct. He's, and he was clinical, absolutely clinical. And that's good. It's really interesting, actually, how sort of how City were trying to play with him, because obviously they've never really had a target man, a big lad. They've had like an Aguero and they've had Jesus, but not really a big number 9. And but he was. His movement was great, but it was relatively easy to track, I thought. It's just that we didn't seem to be on our game at all. And we'll go for the ratings in a bit. Anyway, let's see what we've got in the chat. Ludders in the chat. Good afternoon to you, Ludders. Damon, Vlogs and Games. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining us. Papa Smurf's here. David's here. Damon is a City fan. Welcome. Hope you enjoy the chat. If you want to join us and subscribe, please do. We're on the road to 13,000. I think we're literally like 15 or so off 13,000, which is great. That was a hard watch. It was I was bored. It was a boring game. And City did the right thing, in my opinion. They just nullified it. If West Ham ain't got the ball, the crowd can't get on them. And the crowd can't get up for it. And that's what they did. They played keep ball. There was a reason. I think Anton put up some of the stats on yesterday, and it was like at half time they'd done like 400 passes and we'd done 100 or something like that. Didn't surprise me at all. They just nullified the crowd. The crowd were up for it from the beginning. You could see there was a nice sense of anticipation. We had Ginger Pele doing a pre-match interview. We had Maxwell Cornet coming on. He looks like he's buzzing. He looks really up for it. So he was grinning from ear to ear, old Maxwell. So, for me, it was really tricky. It was really tricky. It could have been a really tricky time for City, particularly when they saw the likes of, Brighton beating Man United, the likes of Liverpool drawing. It was it could have been a banana skin for them. And I think they were very professional. And it was a bit like men v boys. in my opinion. Peter's here, right? Damon's happy, good evening. Uday, I hope you're well from India. Very disappointed yesterday. To play worse than we did last year. First half was awful. There was like 15-minute periods, I'd say, in both halves where we looked like we could get something, but we didn't capitalise. And then City goes bang, 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 goal. And that's always been the problem with us. You know, when we capitalise, we never capitalise on our pieces of really good play. You know, but at the end of the day, it's. And I think Freema said it in the live chat on the watch along. Because it's Man United, because it's Man City. Right? I apologise. I keep saying Man United. I don't know why. Because it's Man City. The performance somewhat gets overlooked because it's Man City. If that was the same performance we did against, say, Forest next week, then people are going to start getting a bit shirty. If that makes sense. It was a. I hate the expression of free hit, but it was a bit of a free hit, really. I know we've played well against them in the past, but I think we've both teams didn't look like they were at full pace. We didn't, and City didn't either. And City still won 2-0. Scott, we're talking about Skamaka, definitely. Looked like an exhibition game. None of the players were match fit. Yeah, indeed. Let's be honest. We were scared of them. We let them have all the ball. It was embarrassing to our supporters. That was embarrassing, Pete, but for me, definitely, you saw similar. We've had similar situations last season where, you know, Moyes almost respects the opposition too much. I think if we went up and had a go at them, particularly after they lost the Charity Shield last week as well, it may have jolted them a little bit. And then if we did win 2 or 3-0, we'd have had a go. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the thing. It's not having a go. And I thought we came out of the gates really, really well. Really well. I actually think the injury to Fabianski really was the thing that sort of kiboshed everything a little bit for us, to be honest. I thought Fabianski came out, I thought he started very strongly, you know, putting his body on the line, coming out for balls, looked really assured. I think Areola didn't look great at all. And I think it's also coming on as a sub-goalie, that's difficult. That is difficult, but then he gives away the penalty straight away, and didn't have a great game at all. And that's just, I think we're saying with everyone, no one sort of. The only person I think who could have had come out of the game with sort of any sort of confidence would have been Skamaka, realistically. But we'll talk about that in a minute. On the other side, we can only go back. Indeed, disappointed to hear that Diop refused to play. Diop's head's turned. Diop thought it was going to go. You know, when we got Aguerd and Aguerd got injured and he's kicked up, by all accounts, he'll be off to Fulham by the end of this week. So, £7.5 million. We'll talk about that at 5 o'clock tonight. There's a few outs, apparently, by the sounds of it. So it'll be interesting to see. With outs means ins. You can't let anyone go without anyone else coming in. So we'll talk about them as well. Hi, Ross. Brian. What we got here? Bet Skamaka must be wondering what they saw. I don't think so. Ludders, I don't think it's the end of the world. In the day, it's not the end of the world. It's one game. It's not. We're not as bad as Man United, are we? Exactly. We're not as bad as Man United. But it's only one game, and it's against the league champions. As I said, if it was against a Brentford or a Villa or Newcastle or Southampton, I'd be worried. I'm not worried. The team that plays on Sunday this Sunday will have a different look and feel to the team that played this Sunday. Skamaka, I imagine, will probably starting possibly. Cornet will be playing, whether he's playing left back or left wing back or left wing. Maybe that means Antonio goes into the left. There's going to be a lot. There'll be a freshening up, and maybe even I'm hoping there'll be a signing or two this week as well. In the defensive side, it seems we need numbers, but looks of it, Dawson's still suffering from a bit of a knock, which could put him out for the Forest game. Ogbonna seems to be about a month away from fitness, as Moisey was saying. I think Zuma is a shadow of himself playing the left side of a centre-back pairing. So for me, it's very important that we invest and improve that area. And by the sounds of it, we'll talk about 5 o'clock tonight. There's a couple of guys we're sniffing around for. Souček. Now, I've seen Toby. I've actually thought, particularly for the first half, I thought Souček looked like he was a lot more like the Souček of old in terms of throwing his body in the line, getting stuck in. Not necessarily on a attack. Second half wasn't great, but I thought he started all right. But Again, it's different opinions, isn't it? First 10 minutes we were on it, and a spell in our Mac. Yeah, exactly. After the Del boy, not only was it a boring game, it was bloody. Oh, it was hot, wasn't it? Oh! I was in my air conditioned box, and I came down from a wee, like I always do, as soon as it kicks off. And I saw a few of the journos. Oh, it's hot. It is hot. It was very stifling weather. Can you imagine playing football in that as well? And I think we don't appreciate that as well. We're sitting there and we're not even playing 90 minutes. I appreciate they're professional athletes and they're fit, but still it would have taken it out of them, particularly chasing the ball around for bloody 90 minutes, which is what we were doing. Russ, they had 2 shots on target. They were there for take it. They were, but Ludders, they were in control. They didn't need to dial it up to 10. They were happy at 5. And we let them play around the back. You know, I think if we got into them and pressed them down a bit and we did. I mean, the first thing Skarmaka did was start a foul straight away, like dragging a player back. And yeah, I just think it was just a very strange performance. They played 2-5-4 and it made our midfield look passive, which is impressive because they've only got 10 outfield players. But I know what you mean. All they do is very, very simple. They put Walker and Cancelo into the midfield, pack out the midfield, and that's what they do. And they just dominated the midfield, and that's why. But the amount of times where they didn't really have any options up front, Grealish got the ball. I thought he was poor. I think Soufal did a great job with him, to be honest, nullifying him. They were just literally turning the ball back. It's not on. Just pass it back. They're not going to pressure us in midfield, and that was the trouble. I think if you pressed the midfield, I think then you would have seen a different City, and it would have opened up gaps maybe for both sides, and so it would have been a lot more of an open game. I think as well. When we drew 2, that was amazing. We didn't press and allowed them to dictate. Very disappointed we can't compete. Well, the first half we were great, and they were good in the second half, weren't we? And then we had the whole Mark Noble thing around it as well, so it was extra sort of oomph around it as well. Do you know what I mean? Exactly what I'm saying, Russ. Look at Brighton. They won by having a go. They did. That's what I mean. You could have had a go. You like damage, particularly. Yeah, it did look like damage limitation, particularly at the end when they brought on Downs and Coventry for like 3 minutes. Didn't get that at all. Christ, we're down to the backbones already. We barely kicked a ball and we're already down to the backbones. It's all right. We've got Elise, haven't we? Oh no, we haven't. But I think there's. But, we know, he knows he's down to the bare bones. As there's a number of players we're looking at, it seems, in the central defence. We've still got the left-sided sorted now a little bit. In terms of left attacking, I don't see Cornet as being our long-term left-back. I think we need to bring a left-back. I think we're talking about one at the moment, or 2 potentially, 1 or 2. And they can both play centre-half as well. Did Diop definitely refuse to play, or just 1 foot? I think it's 1 foot in the taxi to Fulham, by all accounts. But, you've seen his Twitter. He hasn't been around the club, it seems, since the media day, really. So, strange one. But, I think his head was turned and he wanted to go and he didn't come back. And that's basically what he sounds like to me. Time to worry is when we're first 10 games and we've a few points. That's what I mean. Let's get this one out of the way. If this game was like halfway through the season, right, we'd have gone, no, well, it's Man City. Yeah, we should have had a go, but we didn't. Because the first game, I was like, ugh. But anyway. Can have out without it's you having a bubble. Can have out without it's you're having a bubble. We waited how many years to get a striker? I don't understand what that says, Pete. I think there's a bit of spell check going in there. Just let it go. We'll get back into it. Let's go back and knows about Man City and how hard it's to play. I don't think he's thinking what he's. I totally agree. And if you see his interview afterwards, he did with the club. He's buzzing. He was buzzing about the reception. He hasn't. To play in front of 60,000 home fans. It's going to be great. And he's got something about him, that boy, hasn't he? You can just tell with some players, he's got a great touch. For a big man, but he has a great touch anyway. He's holding the ball up well. He was doing a bit of backboarding, a bit of flick on. He was going short to try and get it. There's a couple of times where he got the ball and rather than trying to be silly, gave it a big pass back and started again, maintained possession. I don't think he lost possession. Maybe a flick on or 2, but I think I think he's going to be mustard. I really do. Have we sat Moyes yet? No, Luke. Fabianski was played well, though he looked shaky. I totally agree. Totally agree. Afternoon, Jan, hope you're well. It's 32 degrees pitch side. Wow. Also, I didn't touch Haaland. He dived. I think he did touch him, though. There. Fornals Bennett just should be replaced by Paqueta. Sanye, who's just signed a new extension with PSV to 2027. But apparently, we're still looking to get him. And Hossam, Luke Legend, we've sacked Moyes. Hey, at least we're not relegated. Indeed, think Sanya has signed a new contract. Thank you, Ian. Thank you very much. You see that Anton has got a similar background. I'd rather lose 10-0, but have a go at them. Peter, really? At the end of the season, when we're like goal difference is going to take us and if we lost 10-0, we'd all be like, this is it. Rah! Afternoon, Peter. We're in a tough August, and if we don't get numbers in a tough season, I think we will get numbers in, my friend. Why are we letting a player go to another Premier League rival? Well, because they're paying £7.5 million for it, lads, isn't it? I mean, look at Masuaku's gone on loan. Well, that's all it does is take some of the wage, and we'll be paying some of the wage anyway in that loan deal. Might as well have him, innit? Might as well keep him. For £7.5 million, that recoups some money, which then we can invest. If it is going, they go and get Attila, for example, who's 12 million, and maybe someone else that's paid for that, innit? And I'd rather get people who want to come in and play for a club and people who don't want to play for a club. And if it means we can recoup, I mean, didn't we sign him for like 25 million something quid? So that ain't bad because he ain't bloody played much. Skarmaka, the Italian Arnautovic, or maybe the real Arnautovic from back in the Premier League. If you saw that apparently Bologna have rejected a £6.5 million bid from Man United for 33-year-old Marco Arnautovic, and you worry about our transfer policy. Hello, that is sluggish. Good way, sluggish. Impressing, giving them the ball, but then in saying that, we all knew we wasn't gonna win in the first place, and that's kick on. Indeed, did okay. Nice to see Downs get run out. It looks like we're really gonna need someone to sub when he's obviously knackered. Maybe Rice. Don't forget, Rice ain't playing for the playoffs. Innit? Rice is out for both playoffs. Next Thursday off next. No, next Thursday, innit? Next Thursday. Yeah, next Thursday. And so someone like Downs would need to come in. Maybe Downs and Coventry, and Souček gets a rest. We don't know, So that's that is the sort of the. I think that would be the cup pairing, whereas Rice and Souček would be the main pairing. But Moyes doesn't like to change both of them. He only likes to change one of them usually for the cup. So with one of them out already, you'd imagine someone like Downs would come in and partner Souček potentially. But no, good to see. It's good to see. I thought, do you know what? I was thinking about the way home. I said it about Johnson going left back. Actually, I think Johnson shouldn't be a right back. I think Johnson should be a centre back or left back. So that's an area I want to see, just for his own personal development. Personally, we were right for right backs at the moment, because we've got the boy Ashby on the bench as well. He actually reminds me a lot of Arnautovic. He does. He's got that swagger about him, hasn't he? We may not have two goalkeepers on the bench. He is hoping, but more in the air and hopefully a better attitude. Let's hope hit the like button. We needed 4 or 5 before shipping out. Well, I think you've only got to assume. Hopefully we have. Skarmaka could have come as soon as got his knock. Yeah, I mean, literally, as half-time came out, you saw as they came up, Moyes literally went straight to Skarmaka and said, you're coming on in 10 minutes, get yourself ready. We hadn't even kicked off the half, which surprised me. He's like, why don't you just do it at half-time and bring him on at half-time as a big cheer? But maybe we wanted to give Antonio just 10 minutes and then bring him on, because we knew that, like, literally Martin said to me, Skarmaka's coming on in 10 minutes. He's been told. Is Dennis and Sarr... Well, apparently Dennis, he doesn't like his attitude. That's what I've heard today, so I don't think that's going to happen. Sarr maybe, but I don't know if we need him now. I'd rather invest that money on the left back. Had taken that knee already, certainly did. If we lost 10, it was a pretty good indication. We did not give everything we could, exactly. We are only 3 top. Exactly, we're only 3 points off top of the league. Come on, you wines. What do you reckon about here? We're going to talk about him at 5 o'clock tonight, Zach. Whoever we signed would get injured, so it makes no odds. At least we have Brighton coming up soon. At least we do well. Oh, hang on, we don't. Hold my beer. Right, let's go and go for the. Let's do the old. So for anyone new, every day after the game, we do the weekday after the game, we do the ratings. Again, it's just my opinion. I asked you guys to give your opinions as well, and that's it really. So we'll start with Mr. Fabianski. So get your ratings for Fabianski in the chat. I thought he started, and as I said, I thought he started really, really well. He commanded his box quite well. He came for every cross that came in. Really, they didn't really get much out of him, both from a set piece or from open place, from crosses and from corners. Unfortunately, obviously with the collision, he was forced off shortly after De Bruyne had his goal ruled out for offside, and I felt sorry for him. I really felt sorry for him, and so I always thought that he would start, to be honest, because he didn't play that much. I can't give him a massive score, but I gave him a 6, but obviously he only just played half an hour, really, so I can't really give him any more. In reality, but I thought if he was playing at a good level for the game, he could have easily. The way he was playing very, very well. I thought 5, 8, 7, 6, 7, 8, 7, 5, 7, 8, 8, 8. Was he concussed? I don't know. He didn't look sharpish. I think Moyes said he got a bang on his leg or something like that, his knee, or I think that. So yeah, confused and concussed. It's probably more protocol as well, because it takes a lot to take a goalkeeper off, doesn't it? So I thought he played well. I thought he was back to, like, not his best, but he was really commanding that area very, very well. Unfortunately, and I think maybe him off as well. It could have been a different game maybe if Areola hadn't come on. I don't know. 30 minutes, he was epic. Dealt with all crosses. Yeah, I couldn't really give him more than a 6 because he only played half an hour, really. Right, let's move on. Let's talk about the man with the magic hat, Aaron Cresswell. So my comments. Where's my little match report? I thought he played okay. Cress played okay. I don't think the way City was set up, Foden was hugging that right touchline, which always worried me. But I thought he didn't really have much of the game. There was one where I think he beat him with like a back heel. But I thought Cresswell did okay. Definitely thought he did okay. Positioned himself well for pretty much most of the first half. I think they had identified him as the weak link, in my opinion, because a lot was coming down his half. But he couldn't really do anything, I think, for the 3 of the goals from a defensive perspective, in all honesty. Got forward quite a bit. Didn't get the crosses in as much as we liked. This is going to be quite a recurring thing. I gave him a 6. Let's have a look what we've got here. 6, 7, 7.5. Del Boy, no half points in this game. 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. Well, that's not good. Silent Devil, 6. Steady Cressy, 6, 6, 6. Woodagard and Cornet made a difference yesterday. I totally agree. Definitely Agard. Because I think Agard then puts Zoom in the right spot. He doesn't play well on the left. His dominant foot is the right foot. So his body position is already in the wrong direction. He looks so, for me, I think Zuma looks so crap playing on the left side and playing the right side. He's a totally different player because he's so dominant on his right foot. He just doesn't really, it's the way he sort of positions himself. He always looks unsteady on the ball. So I think he would have done. Right, so we're on the same path there. 666. Nice. Who's next? Let's talk about Zuma. Now, Mr. Kurt wasn't his best game at all. Obviously, being the only natural left back and having someone like Ben Johnson, who's relatively inexperienced fullback. Defender playing centre back. I didn't think he played very, very well. Early on, he looked solid, and he was up for the task with him and Agard, with him and Haaland rather. It was a good battle there, but I think it's difficult. I thought he played okay, but I think particularly the second goal. I just think, as the senior centre-back, you've got to be marshalling your people around, and maybe that's not his style. He's not a marshaller. He's not like a Craig Dawson. You know, Craig Dawson would sit there and shout and drag people, but I just don't think he had it. He needs. He plays well with a good. You know, he can be a very good defender, but I just think he was hampered quite a bit. Hampered by the fact he was playing with maybe an inexperienced right back, because he was right back playing centre back, and then he was on the left hand side. It just didn't really work. So I actually gave him a 5. I gave him a 5. Matt gave him a 5. Papa gave him a 5. 6 from Uday, 6 from Ludders, 5 from Freeman. I hope you're well, mate. 5 from Jan, 6. 5 from Pete, 5 from Devo, 5, 8 when he was on. Are you talking about Dave? Are you talking about Fabianski? Zuma will not miss not having Zuma around. Where was Dorse? Apparently Dorse had an injury. He had a knock by all accounts, is what Moisey was saying. And which could mean he might not feature in the Forest game on Sunday if he's got a knock. But I mean, you know, straight away, Dawson Zuma as a 2, I think would have been a lot more domineering, because Johnson's not someone who's going to, and so neither Zuma. So you miss that sort of. But even Aguerd's not like a type player. But I just think then at least Zuma's playing on his natural side. So, and it seemed to change the formation a little bit. I think at times we were playing 3 at the back, and then at times we were playing 4 at the back, and it was a little bit sort of like, I don't mind that, but it means to make a difference. We missed Dawson, we certainly did. Del Boy gave him a 5 as well. Who is next? Are we going to talk? Let's talk about Benny Boy Johnson. Obviously, with Zuma being the only fit recognised centre back, Johnson came in. I thought he'd admirably. I thought he did well. And obviously, you know, when you've got a side with Grealish, Haaland and Foden, it's always going to be a tough job. I thought he dealt quite well with the crosses as well. But, you know, it was he too easily, Haaland too easy just went past him. Relatively simple run, in all honesty, for both, definitely for the penalty, and pretty much for the end goal as well. Him and Zuma, I think, just switched off a little bit, but I thought he did well. I thought he did all right. And there was a couple of times I think it was counter attack in the second half. He got involved and stopped it, and I actually thought he played quite well, considering he's playing against one of the best sides in world football. He held his own, and I think they definitely. I mean, he plays in a back 3. The other 23s used to play in a back 3, and I think Benz could do that job. He's got the pace as well to cover sort of right back as and when. So I gave him a 6. So did Matt. So did David. Didn't see him much. That's not a bad thing for a defender. 6 from Acid, 7 from Uday, 7 from Ludders, 6 from Papa, 6 from Jan, 6 from Devo, 7 did well considering not his position. I totally agree. Next, let's talk about Vlad Palar. Now, I thought he had a very good game. I thought he was solid. I thought he didn't give Grealish hardly anything. And if anything, was our more attacking player on the right-hand side, in all honesty, in terms of getting forward. Thought he, where I think Bowen was nullified. Didn't have a very good game at all, I don't think Bowen did. But Soufal was doing quite well to sort of the run around, sort of the 1-2s and running around. In second half, some nice little link up play with Skarmaki. It was always a threat on the right hand side. I think going forward, and there's a couple of times Skarmaki held the ball up and gave a nice drifting pass out to the right. And again, I don't think Grealish was hardly in the game. To be honest, I think if anything, I think Soufal was probably my man of the match, to be fair. And I gave him a 6. Actually, no, let's say a 7. I gave Soufal a 7. I think that's wrong. I'll give him a 7. 7. We need 4 or 5 players. We're in trouble. All we're in trouble, indeed. 7 has a lot to do. 7. 5, defensive liability. Interesting. See, I love the fact we see different perspectives of the games. I thought he played quite well defensively as well, but Udai didn't. So fair enough. 7. Kufal's our greatest, most committed player. Went out to flatten Grealish and got forward. Indeed. 6, 8. 10 out of 10 for tackle on Grealish. 6. Do they only do man of match when we win and they don't announce one? Indeed, lovers. You got it in one. There's no point doing a man of match if the team's lost. And we usually do it if we've won or it's a really good draw. We'll do it, but it'll be during the added injury time, second half usually. So we've gone for 6. I think that's fair enough. 6, 7. Actually, I went for 7. Right, who's next? We've got Thomas Suchek. This is going to be interesting by the people in the chat. Suchek. I was watching some of the other people talking. I thought Clarence Booze, and he put him down for 4. I think it's a bit harsh. I thought first half, he was like he was getting involved. He was putting his body in line. He was defensively quite strong. He was getting tackles in. He was making interceptions. But he wasn't getting forward. It was almost like he was instructed not to leave their half, stay in that half, just keep going. But then he was quiet, I think, as well. The whole team was quiet. And I think the fact is, because you had these two, you had Walker and you had Cancelo, both in midfield, I think he just got overrun in midfield, honestly. I had him down for a 6. I had a 6 because I thought he played, it was okay. Gary's put 0. Matt's put 6. Papa's 5. 3 from Udai. 6 from Ludders. 5 from Jan. 5 from Devo. Potato Muncher 5. Suchek, did he play? He did indeed play. What else? You're watching last year's game. He was not in the game. There we go. Fair enough, Gary. Fair enough. There was particularly in the first half. I think he got himself a nice little shiner in the first half as well, because the camera gets zooming in. And there was sometimes where he was like, I think it just wasn't. I think it went out to Antonio, and Antonio completely miscontrolled it. Went back to, and he was screwing. He was really unhappy with Antonio. Yeah, but obviously he didn't get behind. And one behind, just Fab with an 8 when he was on. Okay, fair enough. Thanks, Dave. Right, let's talk about Mr. Rice. Obviously, captain. Full-time captain. Big responsibility for him. That's for sure. Obviously, the first time as the club's official captain. Early on, some good interceptions. Got caught out a few times as well, though. Particularly in the build-up to the opener. And I think, sometimes I think we look at Declan Rice and we automatically put him down for a 7. But I thought in the first half he was very, very, very quiet. And there was a period in the second half where he seemed to get frustrated. And that's the worry for me, is he's frustrated. As captain, yeah, you show frustration, you show you care, but, sometimes... And then he started lunging in. And I need Declan Rice on the pitch. I don't need him getting yellow cards. And nowadays, you can't tackle. It seems you can't tackle. There was a couple of times we did some good sliding tackles, and I reckon out of 4, he got 3 of them. But 1 he didn't, and the ref didn't give him anything. And that just worries me sometimes. But, there's no doubt the man's best player we got on the pitch. He did a lot of picking up the ball from the centre-back positions, didn't he? So almost like he was almost fitting in as a third centre-back, sometimes it seemed. They were sort of... And that sort of alluded to me how defensively sort of worried we were in that he was doing that. But, look, I gave him... I gave him a 6. It wasn't his best game at all, and I think he was... Him and Suchek were basically completely surrounded, suffocated by the Man City midfield. Completely suffocated. Udai's gone for 7. I think sometimes if he has another good game, we'll say there's a few players here who I usually put down as a good game. He didn't have a great game. I don't think the team had a great game, so he shouldn't be getting an 8 if the team are probably a 5 or 6. Makes no sense, because for me it's the team. It's how the team perform at the end of the day. 6, 7. He didn't captain this game well. That's what I mean. It's a different type of thing being the captain. It's about getting ahead. It's not about going, it's about, okay, right, you need to sort that out. You need to sort it out. I'll do this, you do that, you do that. And that will take time. Decker's 8 from Ash. 5, 7 from Pete. 6 from Papa. Souvenir looked better. I think Souček looked better. Arsenal, West Ham will achieve nothing with Souček, says Mr. Manq. 6. Missed the goal. He did. Gary, good point. Indeed. Needs to be less temperamental. That's it. It's exuberance of youth. We love it sometimes, but when you're the captain, just dial it in a little bit. You've got to dial it in a little bit. But then you look at people like great captains at the time, like Julian Dix and Billy Bonds, and obviously captains that I've seen as well, the likes of Nolan and Scott Park. I mean, those guys would galvanise a team by putting a tackle in. And it was almost like Rice was trying to do that. There was a period where I think literally every tackle was a sliding tackle, which again worried me. But Nobes did that as well. Nobes used to do that. He'd come on, first thing he'd do would slide tackle someone to get everyone up on their feet. It was almost like he's learnt that. So look, it'll be fine. Expectations are so high. Yep, Souček 6. Right, who's next? Let's have a look. Who's next on my list? Let's talk about Pablo. Again, he tries hard, he runs about like a blue ass fly sometimes. And he, at the beginning, he put in a really good cross for Antonio early doors. He does press well. He was one of only a couple who was hurrying the defenders of City a bit. So almost like there was sometimes where he was almost playing like up with Skamaka as a 2. Very strange. I don't understand how it worked. He went when Lanzini went off. I think Fornals his position centrally, and I think he can control and he can be busy centrally rather than out on the wing. So definitely when Skamaka came on, he looked far more involved in my opinion. What we got here, I would blame Moyes. He should have learnt from Fulham's game. There we go. 4, 4, 5, 5. Not the best. Interesting, isn't it? Because I had him down. What did I put him down for? I put him down for 5 as well. But Papa Purse put 7. 5, 5. Moyes got it wrong tactically. From there, the team were sorts. Yeah, that is bang on, Artel. Bang on. So I think 5. Yeah. Wasn't a great game at all. Moving on to Lanzini, I think it's a similar story. I think early doors impressed. I mean, there's about the first 10-15 minutes we were up for it, weren't we? It seemed, and there's a willingness to try and get at that Man City back line, pin back Kyle Walker, pin back Cancelo, and make them defenders rather than attackers. That's the trick with City. And then that was it. I think he was non-existent the whole of the game. Then he went off 10 minutes into the second half. I just didn't think Lanzini had a fantastic game at all. I think for the majority of his time on the pitch, didn't really contribute. Really, it just wasn't in the game at all. I put him down for 5. And people who've seen this chat before, that's that. I don't usually put people down for lows, but yeah, Moyes Clues needs to do a lot better. 5, 4 minus for Uday. 3, 5 forgot he was playing. Crap, not in the game at all. Difficult to raise plays, hardly got stiff with the ball. Indeed, Lanzini. You can see his frustration when subbed. We'll do something about it then, Manu. 5, 5, and Del Boy put 4 now for 4. And I think it's a similar situation for our whole attacking line, to be honest, because then you've got Bowen. I think that's Bowen's worst game for us since he's put a claret and blue shirt on. I thought he was non-existent. I thought he was nullified. I thought Cancelo kept him quiet the whole game by imposing himself into the midfield. And then it's almost like Bowen was there as a backup midfielder, almost like man-marking Cancelo. Hardly got a kick in the first half. There was one bit where he got past Ake, but that was it. It wasn't the performance we'd hoped for our top goal scorer last season. Let's just say that. I think that's a nice way of saying it. Looks sluggish. Didn't like I tell you what, didn't like a player wants to be playing the World Cup. Do you know what I mean? It's like, these guys have got to be hitting it from day one if they want to get on that plane for Qatar. And I just don't think he had it at all. It just didn't seem maybe because he made such an impression the first game, also the last game, well, the last game last season, for example, the last game last season. He was on fire. He was literally on fire that day. It was almost like Man City decided to just nullify him. And as I said, I think Soufal was the more attacking, right hand sided player, to be honest. I put him down for a 5, but I could have been a lot worse, I think, to be honest. 3, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 4. Didn't like giving it, but 4 indeed. Didn't see him on the pitch. Lansley was 4, 4. Missing. The Mancs did their homework. 4. We got complete out. We did. Must have worn Bowen out pre-season. Very poor. Cancelo. He's a fantastic player, isn't he? He's a brilliant player. Didn't get a look in. 5. Poker Max 4. Yeah, I think it's similar attributes to everyone else. Let's talk about Antonio quickly. Obviously, started. Maybe more due to the fact that Skamaka not being fit than maybe necessarily walking into the team. I'm just going to say it. He's 32 now. And early on, made life difficult, but everything just kept on bouncing off him again. It's one of those games. He has those games where sometimes literally everything sticks. Everything sticks. Yesterday just weren't one of them. Everything was, coming on. It was banging on. I felt sorry for him because he had literally scraps to work off. There was one chance early on in the first half from Fornals. I think he crossed it in and he could have done better, maybe. And then he got the knock, and that seemed to just like that was it. A couple of times he has fouls and whatnot, but just got a knock, and he just seemed to just give up a little bit then. There was, particularly in the first half as well, there was sometimes where he was running into the box and it's just like he wasn't even bothered running, and it's like, well, that's not what you want. So I put him down for a 5. They're all gone down for 5s. Antonio 2. James gives it the random 0 to 7. 3, 5, 4. The Boeing tax plus 2. 2, 7 for our number 9. Really, wow, fair play. 5. You alright? 5, 2, 5, 5, 5. You've been a bit nice overall, Jordan. I usually I'm not. I'm same as Ludders. I can't give too many bad numbers, but this is bad for me. And I'm always a positive. I'm always a half glass full type of guy, and I still am. 5 sparkled then fizzled out. Another striker. Not sure his hamstrings are up to it. It was his knee. It was his knee, wasn't it? It seemed, not his hamstrings. Right, let's talk about the subs. We only talk about the subs that came on for like longer than 2 minutes. So we'll talk about Areola. Obviously, didn't get off to the best of starts, giving away a penalty almost straight away. Yeah. What's that?
What was it?
Oh, that chili chicken wrap.
Cheese chicken wrap.
Thanks, love you. So for me, it wasn't off the best start. Never is coming off of, having a goalkeeper come on so early on in the game isn't great for the goalkeeper, in terms of warming up. So maybe, the fact that he had just come on probably meant that he didn't get sent off for that penalty. Although he wouldn't have got sent off anyway because it's not double jeopardy anymore now. But, I don't think he even got a booking. So I think Mike Oliver gave him a little bit of a reprieve. But he just didn't look up for it. It didn't really look like he's like the sort of the random sort of like caginess that he sometimes has was at a bit more like the forefront because maybe his back was against the wall a little bit then, having just conceded the penalty. And but I mean, to be honest, he didn't really have much to do. He looked all right in possession. Nice touches, nice little, rather than just lump it, little chip balls over to Sufal. To be honest, both Zuma and Ben Johnson put him under a little bit of pressure, I think, from back passes and stuff. They were doing a really weird goalkeeper thing where Zuma was just rather than Areola passing it to Zuma was taking the goal kick and would pass it to the side, and then Areola was hit it on the rolling ball. Bit weird. I put him down for a 6. Yeah, it should have been maybe a 5, to be honest. Antony's come off the bench, right? Indeed. Moyes, no idea. 4, 5, maybe a 5. Yeah, you're probably right, actually. 6, 5 looks shaky. 6, it didn't help. 4, caught him out. I mean, yeah, actually, for the goal, that's a good point. I'm going to put down to a 5. For the actual second goal, he went. He was coming out and he stopped, and he went back. And actually, if he'd probably carried on, at least Haaland would have had to do something a little bit better. A little bit more tricky than just literally took a shot. He knew it was clinical early, but I think he made it easy for him. Didn't have much to do. 6, Haaland would have done that to every keeper. Yeah, maybe, but I think he gave him the option to do it. Whereas I think he was on his way out and he stopped. And actually, I think that little check, it sort of made Haaland's mind up what he was going to do. Haaland will catch a lot of keepers who are unaware of that pace. He certainly will do. He's going to score 25, 30 goals this season easily, isn't he? He's mustard. Do you see his dad in the crowd as well? It's quite funny, I thought. Ben Rama obviously came on 10 minutes into the second half rather. I think the benefit of bringing Ben Rama on is Lanzini came off, who was having a stinker, and moved Fornals more centrally. I think Fornals is better more centrally than it is on the left. I mean, to be fair, I think he didn't have our first chance of the game, I think, from a shot from just inside the box. Tried little things with Cresswell. Just didn't really get any crosses in. I think Anton said he had 4 crosses. None of them was successful, reached their man. He didn't lose the ball in possession as much as he usually does, but he was only on the pitch for 35 minutes. By all accounts, one of the ones which Moyes looking to move on. Forest were looking at him. Apparently Forest were looking for 30 million quid. I'd have bit my hand off if they come in for 30 million quid. That can't be true. But we shall see. I gave him a 5. What we got here? 5, 3, 4, 5, 4, 6. Lively, says David. 3, at least he tried. 5, Ariel Dable gave 5 to Jordan. Benny should be sold. 0, 6. He could have done better with second goal. I think you talk about Areola. 5, his final ball was awful. 6 for Benny, and Schumacher looked good. Unfair on Benny this game as a team were in a bad place. They were. I think sometimes you look at, but that's what you look at the bench for impact, don't you? You look for the bench for impact, and if he's not there, that's the job of what an impact sub is, and I think that's why Ben Rama is. He's an impact sub. He was poor. Vlasic could be on the toes to Napoli. Well, apparently it's Torino looking at him as well. So Benny 5. Benny goes 10 now. Cornet here. Okay, now Cornet here 4. Does he go? I think he goes. I think he's going. I think Benny's looking. He's one of the ones which apparently we'll talk about 5 o'clock. But Fabrizio Romano is one of the 2 players that he mentioned is going to be potentially on their way out at West Ham. Actually, it'd be 3 players, I think. Let's talk about Schumacher. Now, obviously, we knew that Moyes was going to pick him because he said he weren't going to pick him, so he knew. And I saw him, and I knew from earlier because I knew we were introducing Cornet and we didn't introduce Schumacher. So I was like, okay, so if we're not introducing Schumacher, why are we not introducing him? Oh, because he's in the squad. And I saw him do his little walk around the pitch at pre-match, so I knew he was going to be playing at some point. Moyes game 35 minutes. I don't know what the difference between 35 and 40 minutes is, in all honesty, because surely you could have warmed up at half time and then come on at 45 with a big pop for the fans. half time, but I don't know. That's why I'm sat here talking to you rather than at Rush Green. There is no doubt that this boy is going to be good. He showed he's physical. He's 6'5", so he's a big lad. You could see, some of the knock-ons were hit. He was doing these knock-ons and they were reaching their man. And City looked he went a little bit more defensive when he came on. I think he nodded down like a goal kick, and it's to start a move. And there was a half chance for Saeed. They looked more creative when he was coming on. But what I liked about him was, even there was a shot, I think in the second half, when the ball came across and he headed it. He knew he was offside, but he still had a header just in case. And considering he was out just inside the box, bloody powerful header. I tell you what, he's got some power behind him, this boy. But he doesn't do everything. What I like the way he jumped off. He could act as the backboard. He was linking up play. There was sometimes where he turned and dropped deep to get the ball and then go forward. I thought he looked really, really good. I put down for a 6 because I'm excited by him, but he didn't score. He says he can't wait to score, but he looks a bit special. But could give him more than that, in my opinion. What we got here? 7 from Jan, 7, 7, 7, 4 from GP. I imagine that's for someone else. 7, 8. What's looking like our next transfer targets? Left back / centre back. Scarmack at 8. Looks lively in Italian accent. I will give him 8. Def offers something. Mac is 7. Needs a good number 10 or a Tielemans type. Will be on fire. And don't forget, I think Vacorne playing on the left. That would definitely make me very, very corny. He's going to score goals because he just seems to be buzzing. And actually, there was sometimes where he was making similar runs to Haaland would make. So he was looking and he was ready on. He was literally standing on the defender's last shoulder, like in the gap. And if the right ball would have been in, so I'm thinking good. He should be in a nice cold hot tub. Indeed, it's very, very warm. The pool is out, but the heater's not on, so it is quite cold. Skamaka looked exciting. Looks and plays like a bar steward. He does. He's taller than Haaland, but Haaland just has the physicality of the Premier League. I think he will. I think he does as well. Very excited player, but I thought that about Haaland after the first game. 7, fast, skillful, bringing, and Skamaka didn't make a big difference. His shots, yeah, he does. He won all his duels. You're certainly right. 7. So who was our highest rating? I had it down for Soufal, to be honest. Skarmaker hat-trick incoming for Forest. Can you imagine? Ladies and gents, it's been a pleasure as always with these. I love these highlight shows. Because it's a lot easier. You guys just give me all the information. We've got Hammers headlines at 5:00 tonight. We'll talk about Diop, talk about Benny out. We'll talk about Vlasic out. Question mark. Talk about some ins defensively because we need them. And then over the week, we've got obviously the previews for the Forest game and the watch-alongs. Hopeful to get an ex-Hammer in this week for a little My Hammers 11 interview. We've got a few lined up, but it's just getting them in on the right dates. But obviously going back, we had quite a few. I mean, yes, last week we had Tricky Trev on. We had interview clips from Clips, West Ham Clips. Oh, beyond soon. Is this Wednesday's one out? I'm seeing it. From Clips, from Kaz Pennant, from Robbie Slater, Kenny Brown, Stuart Slater. Yesterday, Anton had Ray Stewart on the channel for the watch along at the beginning. We also had video clips from Bobby Seagull. We had nice little video message from old Billy Horschel as well. And so, yeah, we always try and bring stuff. And let us know, obviously, go back and see the preview. Anton's done a lot of work changing the format, making it more video, getting opinions from international hammers, young hammers, old hammers, footballers, that's it, that type of thing. So yeah, I really, really appreciate anyone's comments on them. Shame we missed out on Haaland. Yeah, exactly. Have we cloned Dawson yet? No. Will Rice go after Man U defeat 10? No, I don't think so. Yes, I have to admit, I expect to get destroyed, and he did okay. And that's probably the best summary of the game. Tar us, we're going to end up short of players if we're not careful. Outs versus in. Now, we know, we're not... Now, I know that David Moyes has been involved in football, plus everyone else, for many, many years combined. We know if players are going out, we have to get players in. We know it. So when people go, it's a bit naive to let players go. It's naive if you haven't got things lined up, innit? So I can't see that happening. He says famous last words. But anyway, if you're new around here, there's a few new names. Thanks for joining us. Give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a subscribe, give it a nice little comment underneath when we make the video live afterwards. Maybe become a channel member. We've got our obviously monthly members draws and weekly draws as well and all that good stuff. So take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Stay lucky. Stay cheeky. Stay hydrated. It's going to be hot in the UK. Well, hot for the UK. Sort of at mid-30s, I think it's going to be this week. But also stay positive. Only game week 1. We've got 37 games to go. Don't worry. How many points is that? There's 37 times 3. 111 points still to go. Don't worry. Keep the faith. Keep the faith, my friends. And as we do at the end of each of our shows, I'd like to thank all our channel members. So ta-ta for now, guys. See you later.
It's like a family tree, part of you and part of